If you need my help, just say a word.
This game does not need to exist. I'm sorry, no, it really doesn't. What you're unfortunately looking at is Walking Zombie 2, the sequel to the famous cult classic Walking Zombie: Dead City. A game so widespread it got a total of only 245 reviews on Steam. Walking Zombie 2, just like its predecessor, is a PC remaster of the original iOS and Android mobile game. Except all this remaster contains is just full 1080p graphical support. I'm not sure why, but there seems to be a small community of indie devs, although they barely deserve the term, that just take standard voxel character assets, including voxel-styled zombies, from the Unity marketplace, and make low-effort zombie games out of them. Walking Zombie visually is not terrible, but it's still one of the most hilariously bad games I've come across in recent memory, and believe me, that's saying something. The voice acting itself is just painfully cringeworthy. It's almost as bad as the Wookiee scenes in the Star Wars Holiday Special. I honestly, for the life of me, cannot decide whether the developer is just bad at dialogue and humor, or if the intent from the onset was to deliberately design the game with terrible dialogue and humor in mind. Either way, the end result is the same. The game kicks off with what I think is supposed to resemble some vague attempt at a dramatic, meaningful plot, but it comes off as so facepalm worthy that it probably should have been cut altogether. You know what? No, I'm not even going to dignify this by continuing to illustrate its lack of meaningful attributes. I'm just going to show you and let you be the final judge on this one, because I'm pretty sure all of you are going to agree with me to the letter on this one.
She's infected! We need to kill her immediately! She can turn any time!
I know, but we need to save the child. It's her last wish.
It's a boy. How should we name him?
And how is his mother? She didn't look well.
She disappeared. Watch out! Run!
The less time you spend interacting, if this nonsense can be loosely defined as interacting, with other characters, the better off you'll be. I'd rather spend more time digging through the pixelated toilet than listening to more AI-spoken voice lines delivered by animatronic-looking characters. You start out in this small hub world set in a camp, where you can go off on short 5 to 10 minute long quests, given to you by one of your lifeless AI companions, who do nothing but ramble B-movie dialogue at you that eventually ends with a request for help. Or alternatively, sell you items that in the real world they'd probably just give you for free, or lend to you, since you're part of their little survivor family. In a zombie apocalypse, I'm not sure why members of your own family would sell you ammunition when, your goal is to collectively defend the camp. I'm all for capitalism, but where it makes sense. And here, it certainly doesn't when you actually start thinking about it. The enemies feel like they've just been given enough AI to be able to basically walk vaguely in your direction as you hold down left mouse to kill them. But that's all they're able to do, more or less. It's rather like playing Zombie Army Trilogy again, but I'm actually going to give this game a tiny bit more praise because at least here, you have something resembling actual objectives to do. Zombie Army Trilogy, although produced by an actual AAA developer, doesn't even manage to do that properly. Sure, the Walking Zombie 2 objectives may be boring and rarely require more than a couple clicks, but at least it's usually more than just a duller version of Horde mode gameplay. In one of the most inexplicable decisions I've ever seen between an original game and its sequel, Walking Zombie 2 decides to entirely forego any attempt at adding the collaborative multiplayer experience, and instead focuses entirely around single-player gameplay. Honestly, since this game is really nothing to boast about, having online support or any multiplayer function could only improve this game. I don't think this really needs to be said, but anytime a developer makes a sequel to an online co-op game and takes away the online co-op component in favor of just stripping it down to an entirely single-player experience, that's never a good sign. It never does it result in a better, higher quality game. This game is neither absolute trash nor a high-quality gem. It sits among many others in a virtual bargain bin of unimpressionable mediocrity. If you're looking to waste a few minutes laughing at this horrendous dialogue and voice acting delivery, and I'm still unsure whether the voice acting was contributed by actual breathing, living humans, then by all means pick it up. There are two versions of it, one being free to play and one priced at $2.99 USD, or your regional equivalent. The only difference between these two versions, as far as I can tell, is that the free to play edition plays like a direct adaptation of the original mobile port, complete with timed waiting and subsequently paid microtransactions, or the $2.99 version, which seems to remove most, if not all, of these limited barriers. Personally, I'd recommend the free-to-play version, as the artificial playable time limits aren't low enough to have much of an impact. You, the player, will likely tire of playing the game long before the game actually decides to crack down on your ability to continue playing. For those among you who like your extensive PC options menu with intricate graphical and performance-enhancing customizations, this is definitely not your game. Then again, since this is a half-assed mobile to PC port, I really don't know what you could have been expecting with this one. On a more humorous note, while I was replaying this game while writing this review, I ended up unlocking a number of Steam achievements for the game, including 4 achievements that so far only roughly 0.1 to 0.4% of the players in the world have achieved thus far. I really don't think that's something I want to be proud of, but it's something I have at least achieved. That's all I really have to say on this game. Play it if you want for a laugh, but if you're looking for a good zombie game, just go buy World War Z, or honestly, go play Fortnite's original PvE Save the World campaign mode. A lot of people forget Fortnite originally debuted as a 4-player co-op PvE-centric game, with the Battle Royale mode being released much later. While the Battle Royale mode is now what the game is ultimately known for, you can still buy the Save the World campaign mode as a separate DLC add-on, fairly cheaply I believe. At any rate, I can't bear to continue looking at this game any longer. I'm going to go scrub my eyes with bleach. I'll see you later. If you enjoyed this video, presumably far more than you'd actually enjoy playing this abomination of a game, or maybe just because you feel some degree of pity for my suffering on your behalf, be sure to hit that like button and tell me what you think in the comments down below. Although I can't imagine any of you would really go to bat for this monstrosity. If you want to support the work I do on these review videos, please consider subscribing and clicking the bell to opt into getting notifications when a new video goes live, because YouTube won't always tell you otherwise. This is WarriorDan signing out. Stay awesome everybody, and peace out.